welcome back to Wine Never Books with your girl Kay. As you can see by the title, we are doing the Cartel series, book 4. I said I was going to finish the series for you guys, so here it is. I'm about to get into book 5 after this, right? So let's jump into it. The book start off with Monroe Money Diamond saying that he was in a coma for 5 years and he's awakened from his coma. So he's awakened after 5 years, and his grandfather, he speaks to his grandfather, and the grandfather tells him, like, yo, you know, your brother's dead, your mama's dead, this is what's going on, the cartel's fallen. You know, he puts money onto everything. So money is determined now to get back into a position of power for the cartel, because, you know, it's his birthright, right? At the same time, young Carter, we know from the ending that when they faked their death at the end of book 3, they went to Brazil, and Carter decided that he's gonna walk away from the game because he's still brokenhearted over Mia Moore, and it's just not the same for him. So he leaves Zyir in charge to run the empire and the day-to-day stuff, but he is still behind the scenes as far as like meeting with the Connect and this, that, and third. So Zyir is now the head of the competition. At the end of book 3, we know that Zyir and Breeze got married, and Breeze got stabbed and was dead, and Ileana now had pointed a gun at Zyir, and in my head I'm thinking that, you know, she kidnapped Zyir, because we know Ileana was obsessed with Zyir, and because of this, Zyir had whooped her ass after giving Breeze drugs, and then the Mexican cartel started coming down the cartel. That's why they had to fake their deaths and stuff like that, right? And at the end, we see Estes, they at the funeral for Zyir, Carter, Mecca, and all them, and this, that, and third. And at the end of book 3, Lena is on the plane going to Brazil with her son Monroe Jr. to be with Mecca. We know that young Carter killed Mecca in the chapel for killing Monroe and killing Mia Moore, right? So now Carter is living his luxurious life. You know, he's chilling. He lives in a big ass house by himself, and every day, it's been 5 years that's passed. He's been thinking about Mia Moore. He hasn't been the same, right? And it just so happened that Mia Moore shows up to Carter's doorstep 4 years later, right? After her disappearance. And he's taken back, like, what the hell? Like, you know, it got to the point, like, he had dreamed about seeing Mia Moore, but her actually being there, she's scared as hell. So I was like, what? First of all, what? Like, what? Because if you remember, in book 3, Mecca finished Mia Moore. Like, he put that bullet to her. So I'm like, what? Like, how is she still alive? And knowing how Mecca was, there's no way that Mecca left her alive. I'm like, how is she not dead? Then I'm like, the way they made it seem when Monroe got shot, like, Monroe is dead. How is this man in a coma? So I'm like, yo, they just bringing people back from the dead all of a sudden in book 4. Like, come on. But I'm like, I like to see it, though. I love to see it, right? So anyways, Carter invites Mia Moore in. He's on the line between killing her and letting her live and loving her, and he's going through his emotions, guilt, regret, anger, rage, everything you could think of, he's going through it. They end up speaking about everything. Mia Moore's scared. She tells Carter everything that happened, her whole story. Carter ends up forgiving her, right? At the same time, we then find out that Breeze is alive. First of all, at the end of book 3, Breeze was said to die in Zyir's arm. So now her ass is alive. I'm like, yo, what? So it comes to find out, Breeze was stabbed. She was rushed to the hospital where her ass survived. So now Breeze, when Breeze is introduced back to the book, Breeze and Zyir kidnap Ileana. They tie her up. Zyir ends up torturing her. Breeze orders the hit. So I'm gonna stop right there. First of all, I know when at the end of book 3, Estee had raised the white flag. So so to signal to the Mexican cartel, you like, yo, you know, they dead. But my thing is like when Ileana went missing, they didn't think about that. That was the cartel who did it. So all of a sudden, the Mexican cartels just stopped. That was my question, right? So I'm just like, okay. But anyway, so now Este tells my bad. Pause. So now Este summons the family to the estate. So he summons Breeze, he summons young Carter, he summons Zyir, and there they find out that Monroe is alive. They meet Monroe. Monroe is back. Monroe is just like, you know, what's going on, talking, and Monroe, they find out like Monroe is ready to get back into the game, right? So everybody's taking back like, what the hell? So now Carter is going through his emotions because he's like, yo, I killed Mecca because I believe, in his head though, I believe that Mecca killed Monroe, and now Monroe's alive. So now he's going through the emotions like, did I just kill my brother for no reason? But he also knew that, you know, he couldn't forgive Mecca for killing Mia Moore either because, you know, when they was in the confessional booth, he heard Mecca say it. So now, that's the situation. So Money also finds out that Lena is alive and that Lena has his son. So he ends up meeting his son. Him and Lena end up, you know, moving in together. He buys her a house, a car, and all that. And, you know, he's trying to be a father, and he's happy that, you know, Lena is with him. He got a son, right? So now we going back in time. So to find out what the hell happened between Mia Moore and Mecca ass. I'm thinking Mia Moore was dead, but I'm glad her ass not dead at the same time. So Mia Moore, again, she was tied up in the basement. She was getting her ass whooped by Fabian. And it got to the point where Fabian couldn't kill her, so he dipped out on Mecca. Mecca was whooping Mia Moore's ass. But during this time, you know, Mia Moore was like, you know, she's not going to give Mecca the satisfaction. But she understands that, yo, you know, me and Mecca are the same. And at this time, remember, Mecca was going through his emotions. Like, he wanted to be a better person. His spirit is unsettled, like he's just going through all this. So when Mia Moore says like she looks up at Mecca and like, you and I are the same, Mecca couldn't bring himself to kill Mia Moore because killing Mia Moore would be like killing himself, and that they both have done dirt, they both have, you know, lived kind of the same life, they both are the same person. So it's like he would be hypocritical to kill Mia Moore. So he had shot Mia Moore in the shoulder, in the abdomen. He beat her up like she was beaten bad, like she was beaten real bad. But he gave her the option. He's like, I can't kill you as much as I want to. My soul won't allow me to kill you. But let me tell you something. I'm going to let you go, but you're going to get the hell out of Miami right now. You're not going to come back. You're not going to contact Carter. So Mia Moore also becomes fearful of Mecca at this point because she knows that he's a killer, and Mia Moore didn't fear anyone up until this point except Mecca, you know, because she was a fearless ass chick, right? So now Mia Moore, once Mecca leaves the basement, Mia Moore had fell down on the chair, broke the chair, and she was found by some kids. She was in the hospital. She wakes up in the hospital. She's listed as Jane Doe. Once she listed as Jane Doe, she hears nurses talking and stuff like, oh, call the detective once she wake up. So Mia Moore goes to the morgue. She leaves her hospital room, still some scrubs, goes to the morgue. There in the morgue, she waited like 4 hours in one of the containers where they have the dead bodies. She basically put a scalpel to the coroner's neck and told the coroner, I need you to cut off Jane Doe's 2 hands, right? So she cuts the coroner cuts the 2 hands off. Mia Moore takes the 2 hands to a tattoo shop. At the tattoo shop, she pays the guy $7,500 to tattoo her tattoo that she has on her hands, the same exact handwriting, everything, Murder Mamas, right? So she then kills the tattoo artist guy because she knew that he couldn't keep his mouth shut. She then puts the 2 hands in a box and sends the box to Aries and Robin, which was their part of the Murder Mommies, right? So remember in the book, in the book 3, when they received the gift, they thinking that Mecca sent the gift of Mia Moore's hand, but Mia Moore actually sent the gift themselves to let them know, like, you know, she's really dead, so they won't come looking for her. She can get out of Dodge. She then goes to her apartment, she takes money, and she disappears, right? So that's what happened to her. So now Her and Carter is having sex all over the place. Like she's happy, she's fulfilled. She was the time that she was away from Carter, like she couldn't do it anymore, and she knew there was a possibility of rekindling with him and him killing her. But you know they was both going through it. They both loved each other, right? So that was that. My thing is, the whole time I'm reading, I'm like, yo, what happened to Murder? Because Murder was also on the flight with Lena and her son when they was going to Brazil. So, like, what the hell? And then also, the book doesn't take place with them in Brazil. So I'm like, I mean, I know 4 or 5 years passed by, but, like, what the hell is going on, right? So, also, and I'm like, okay, so Mia Moore came back to Carter. They living together, all the stuff. So me and Moore didn't think to hit Aries and Robin up. I'm just like, those are supposed to be your mans. But Carter also told me and Moore that, you know, in order to be with me, like I need your loyalty and I need you to leave the game and lay down your guns. And me and Moore is like, I could do that. But Carter falls in love with her more because he after hearing the story, he's like, yo, like she's a real one. She's not just domesticated. Like she can handle her own. And he liked that gangster side of her, right? My bad, y'all. So, anyways, Carter then starts talking with Monroe, and Monroe's like, yo, I want to take over the cartel. Monroe's not feeling Zyir as the head of the cartel because he believes Zyir's not owed the position of being head of cartel because he's not family and he didn't do anything for it. But Monroe failed to realize, like, yo, Zyir put in work for the family. He took care of your wife and your kid when you was in a coma, when everybody thought you was dead. So Monroe's not giving any Carter any props. He's just like, you know, he feel like Zyir took his place, and that's what it is. And Monroe comes out acting like Mecca, because Monroe was supposed to be deemed the good twin, the reasonable one, the one that you could go to where Mecca was a hothead, but he's acting just like Mecca, and I didn't like this Monroe. I'm just like, it's like his Mecca soul went into Monroe, right? So anyways, so Carter decides that he's going to introduce Monroe to his connect to show Monroe, like, yo, we not kick you out the business. We want you to take a backseat right now so you can see how the operation is running. Monroe's like, all right, whatever, F that. So Carter, Zyir, and Monroe go to meet the connect in Brazil. And Monroe's like, all right, I don't like how the operation running. There's too much holes in the operation. It is what it is. I'm going to play it back, right? So now, when he meets the connect, Monroe plots that he's gonna hit up his grandfather, get some drugs, go back to Brazil, this and third. So when they come back from meeting connect now, Monroe gets back on a plane, right? He gets back on the plane. He goes to the connect Bubbles. Was it Bubbles? One of them. I think his name was Bubbles. He meets with the connect and offers to connect the option to sell cocaine from his grandfather's connect, because the grandfather agreed to sell to give him his connections for cocaine and sells to Bubble. So now that's that. So he betrayed Carter, he betrayed Zyir. He's moving funny because he believes that he's supposed to be the head of his father's empire. But he also got to realize he didn't put in any work to get to the head of the table, right? So now, once Monroe comes back from Brazil, some time has passed. Zyir and Carter is having problems with the product. The shipment didn't come in. The streets is drying up. They have no product, right? So, also at this time, Zyir and Monroe is beefing, and you know, they're going head to head, butting heads. Breeze is unaware of the beef between her brother and her husband. Mia Moore is just chilling, but she also is dealing with, like, I want to meet the family. It is what it is. Like, you know, why you keep hiding me, Carter? So, Carter's also dealing with the fact that two of his brothers, Zyir and Monroe's beefing. He doesn't know what to do. He goes home to talk to Mia Moore, because at one point he had told Zyir, like, yo, there's this issue with the shipment. Go back to Brazil. Go meet with the connect and see what's going on. So Zyir was like, all right, I'm going to go first thing in the morning. Monroe was there when Carter made that move to tell Zyir to go to the connect. So that's at the same time, once Carter made that move to send Zyir to Brazil, Monroe, again, he hates Zyir. He calls the connect and like, yo, they find out about the shipment. They pissed off. They coming to Brazil to kill you, right? So he decided that he was going to set Zyir up to be murdered in Brazil to kill two birds with one stone. At the same time, when Carter goes to talk to Mia Moore about this issue, Mia Moore suggests that Carter goes to Brazil himself instead of sending Zyir, so it doesn't look like he's choosing sides between Zyir and Monroe about who's leading the cartel, or whatever, right? So Carter tells Zyir to fall back. I'm going to Brazil. But Carter and Zyir, they don't tell Monroe that Carter's going to Brazil, right? So now Carter flies to Brazil with Mia Moore. They about to have a little vacation, this, that, and the third. They get to Brazil the first night. They end up having a crazy ass threesome. That joke was crazy. Reading the book, right? They have a crazy ass threesome. The next morning, Carter now is driving, and he takes a taxi to go meet with Bubbles. So the taxi driver's like, yo, you Americans come here, and I didn't even know this road was here. And he's like, you the second American that come in that I've been on this road. So Carter sees like Bubbles mansion ahead, and then Carter's like, huh? Because he's like, no one should know about this road except for me. So the driver's like, yeah, the dude that came here was called the Money Man. That's his name, the Money Man. As soon as the driver says something, the cab start getting shoot at. Boop, boop, boop. So Bubbles the connect, his man starts shooting at the cab or whatever, right? So now Carter gets shot in his shoulder and he plays dead. So the men wasn't thorough. They was just like, okay, he's dead. This, that, and the third. Carter ends up kicking the dead cabbie out, drives the car back to the place they stand at Brazil. At the same time, Bubbles has sent his mans to kill Mia Moore, but Mia Moore ends up killing his mans and stuff like that. And Mia Moore had threw up the next morning after the threesome and whatever, right? So I'm like, sis, you throwing up, son, ain't right. So now they get the hell out of Brazil, and Carter tells Mia Moore like Monroe did this shit. So at the same time, the Connect calls Monroe and tells Monroe, you know, your people, the people is dead, whatever. So Monroe shows up to his sister's house because he knew that, you know, she would get the call about Zyir. When he shows up to the house, Breeze is like, yeah, me, Zyir, somebody else is here. So Monroe's like, Zyr's here. And Zyir pops up like, yeah, is that a problem? So Monroe's thinking like, oh shit, what's going on? So Zyir tells Monroe like, nah, Carter decided that he's gonna go to Brazil. So now Monroe is scared that Carter is dead. He just got his brother killed. So I'm like you really crazy. So now Monroe moving funny, and Zyir peep game, and Zyir knew something was up. So Monroe ends up leaving abruptly, and Zyir figures like, yo, something is going on. So now he knows like he needs to really kill Monroe because he's moving on some snake shit, right? So now, Carter, one second. So Carter's back in the States. Carter decides that he's gonna call a meeting because he's like, yo, like this snake shit needs to be aired out. We all need to come to the table and air out our dirty laundry because we're a family, and the only people that's killing the cartel was ourselves. So he calls a meeting. Breeze, Zyir, Lena, Monroe, Carter, Mia Moore is there. At the meeting, Zyir tells everybody like, yo, Breeze is the reason why I got kidnapped. We had sex, this, that, and the third. Mia Moore tells everyone like, yo, I'm the reason why your mother dead. Mecca was the problem, this, that, and the third. So everybody dishing out their dirty laundry. Monroe agrees to be cordial and stuff like that, but he's like, yo, this shit is not gonna work, whatever. I'm not gonna be in a cartel if Zyir is the head of the cartel. Mind you, Zyir is on the type of time and like, listen, it's enough money for all of us to eat. What is the issue? Like, you just want the fame over everything. Like, you don't want the money, so that's the problem. So yeah, Carter, after everybody left the house, right? Everybody left the house. Carter, Zyir, and Monroe have their own little meeting. And Carter's like, yo, y'all need to dead whatever beef that they have. Monroe's like, nah, I'm not deading no beef. Zyir need to leave. Zyr's like, I'm not going nowhere. They about to fight it out. And Monroe's like, so Carter, who you choosing? Carter didn't say anything. Monroe took it as Carter's choosing Zyr's side, right? Now, when Monroe leaves the house, Monroe tells his goons to shoot up the house. So now he shoots up the house with Mia Moore, Carter, and Zyir in it. So now you know it's on sight. Carter don't care about nothing. It's war. So now the brothers are at war with one another. And I'm like, damn, this is really some shit that Mecca would do. Right? So at the same time, Monroe and his grandfather, they moving together, like they trying to be strategic and shit like that. So I'm just like, yo, something ain't right. That also, the same night, that's when Carter found out from Breeze, because Breeze looked at Mia Moore and was like, you pregnant. So Carter found out that Mia Moore is pregnant, and now he's happy and stuff like that. So now he's like, I definitely have to protect Mia Moore, right? So Monroe's still plotting his revenge on Zyir, right? He wants Zyir to step down. So what else is going on? Hold on. At the same time, Monroe's going around the city killing everyone that's attached to the cartel. He kills Zyir's mans. He robs their stash house. Well, he didn't rob it. He set the stash house on fire, right? So now he's moving crazy. At the same time, Breeze doesn't know that Monroe is and Carter and Zyir is at beef with one another. She's like oblivious. She's trying to talk to Zyir about it, but Zyir is not trying to say nothing. Carter calls Mia Moore and tells Mia Moore, I need you to get out the house. I need you to go to a hotel, this, that, and the third. As Mia Moore is in the car, right, Mia Moore gets kidnapped. So prior to this, Monroe had put out the hits for his goons to kidnap Mia Moore. But I was like, damn. But somebody ended up beating Monroe to the punch, and Mia Moore gets kidnapped, right? So come to find out, Mia Moore was kidnapped by Murder. So I'm like, this is what happened to this motherfucker. So Murder kidnapped Mia Moore, and I'm like, why is Murder kidnapping Mia Moore? If he really loved Mia Moore and he want to protect her, why is he kidnapping her, right? So now, once Carter realized that Mia Moore is kidnapped, Carter goes and holds Lena and the baby at gunpoint, in which Monroe is like, yo, I didn't kidnap Mia Moore, it wasn't me. So Carter believes him and was like, I can't understand what happened, like why Mia Moore was kidnapped. So Murder tells Mia Moore when she gets up, like, I want you to be together, we gonna be together, I'm protecting you from this lame ass nigga. You lucky I'm letting you keep the baby. I love you, and I'm gonna keep you here until you love me. So Mia Moore like, you the past, like I don't want you. I'm in love with Carter. Like what? How can you say you love me but you kidnapping me? So Murder's like, as time goes on, you're gonna see that I love you. Murder also writes a letter on behalf of Mia Moore to Carter, saying that I'm running away. I don't want to be with you. I'm gonna kill the baby. So Carter gets the letter, instantly believes it. I'm like, Carter's so dumb. Like for Carter to be so smart. How all of a sudden you get this letter from Mia Moore, you automatically believe that she gonna run away and kill the baby when she was telling you that she wants you to put a seed in her and she loves you and she risked her life to come back to you. She just gonna walk away like that. So he believe it and he's all distraught and all that. I'm like, yo, for him to be so smart, he's so dumb. I'm like, and you giving up on her or like that? I'm like, yo, he had threw all her clothes out order. Like that's how fast this man was moving. I'm like, yo, you just dumb. You just dumb for real. You just dumb. So anyway, now Monroe and Lena is set to get married. Zyir got the go-ahead from Carter to kill Monroe. So on the day of the wedding, Lena, Breeze, and the baby Monroe Jr. is driving to the wedding, but then Zyir paid the driver not to take them directly to the wedding. At the same time, Zyir pops up in the wedding. They start getting a shootout with Monroe and with pause. I want to make sure I didn't miss a part. Yeah, I have to make sure. Alright, so at the wedding, they start shooting out this, that, and the third. Zyir and the getting shot in the abdomen, right? So Zayir's in the hospital. Breeze had broken up between Monroe and Zyir. She's like, I can't believe this shit. Like, how y'all fighting over whatever, right? So now, we back to Murder Mia Moore. So Mia Moore decides that, you know, she needs a plan to get out of there. She has no sharp object, right? But for some reason, her stomach starts going into crazy because she's pregnant. She's about 6 months pregnant. So she ends up having crazy abdomen pain. The plate that she's eating food on cracks. Murder rushes over to her and realizes that, you know, she's not faking it, she's sweating. She ends up taking a piece of the plate and stabbing Murder in the neck, leaving him to die. Right? He's choking on his own blood. His last 4 words, allegedly, because you know they, Ashley and Jacquees bring people back from the dead, was I love you, Mia Moore, right? So now, Mia Moore ends up escaping, right? So now, but Mia Moore collapses. So she's brought into the hospital, the same hospital that Zyir is at right now, recovering from the shot. She's in pre-labor. Bree sees Mia Moore, like, calls Carter, like, yo, Carter, I know where Mia Moore is, right? So Carter, at this time, Carter was in Cali trying to look for Connect. So Carter goes to his father's old best friend Polo, right, to go see Polo. When Carter went to see Polo the first day, Polo opened the door and act like, he didn't know Carter, right? So Carter goes back to his hotel, was like, yo, like, what the hell's up with Polo? So Polo comes over to Carter's hotel the next day and basically tells Carter, like, yo, Estes, which is Breeze and Monroe's grandfather, set him up on the boat. Remember, he went to meet with Estes. Estes declined the offer to supply coal. He had tied Polo up on the boat and hid 5 pounds of cocaine under the boat, in which Polo got picked up by the DEA, right? So Polo decides that he's going to roll over on Estes because Estes set him up. That's foul. So now Polo's working with the DEA. So Carter's like, you set me up? Polo's like, I would never do that to you. Like, I'm only rolling. This is the reason why I'm rolling the Estes. And Carter kind of understood Polo's reasoning for revenge. So then that's when Carter realized, like, shit, I came to the hotel room. The hotel room's under surveillance. Now they got my face on camera. So now they're going to look me up, and it's only a matter of time. So when Carter gets the call from Breeze that Mia Moore was found and all the extra stuff, he tries to rush back to Miami. On the way to Miami, the DA tried to arrest him, but he's like, you don't have no cuffs out, you don't have nothing on me, so he flies back to Miami. He goes to the hospital, and he sees Mia Moore, and then he sees that her stomach is flat. He's like, oh, you really aborted my baby. Then the nurse comes in and is like, no, your baby's in the intensive care unit. He's a premature, this, that, and the third. So he's like, oh, okay. So Mia Moore wakes up and is like, yo, like, I didn't abort the baby. I didn't run away. Because he was like, why would you run away on me? She was like, my ex-boyfriend kidnapped me, murder, and I had to stab him, and the baby, I never did that. So Carter's like, relieved. I'm like, Mia Moore, why you don't go for this nigga? He automatically thought that you ran away on him. Like, come on. So then, after this now, Carter decided that, he's going to handle some business, but he said he's going to go talk to Monroe. So Carter pulls up on Monroe. They decide that, pause, 1 second. Before Carter pulls up on Monroe, Polo calls Carter. He doesn't say anything. Carter got the message that, because Polo's calling, that means the feds is on to them, right? So Carter's like, damn, we gotta move quick. So Carter pulls up on Monroe. They end up shooting the fair one, which they fight it out. They both say that they don't want to fight no more. They tired of the fight. And Carter tells Money, like, yo, the feds has been watching you and Estes. They on their way right now. So Carter and Monroe is at the airstrip with the plane. Carter tells Zyir, like, yo, I'm not leaving you. The feds on the way. Get out the hospital. Zyir and his boy, I forgot his name. They drive on whatever. His boy drops off Zyir on the side of the road, like, yo, I got this. I don't have no priors. They don't got me. We going on a police chase. So Zyir ends up making it to the plane, right? So they make it to the plane. They fly into Bermuda. So while they're in the Bermuda Triangle, it said that the plane crashed, right? But while they was on the plane, Carter had said he has a plan. So I'm like, that got to be a part of the plan. So now I think a couple weeks have passed, and the DEA is now arresting Breeze. They arrested Lena, like, oh, because your husbands and your boyfriends now died. Somebody's going down. We looking for a queen pin. So Mia Moore smart. Mia Moore calls Carter's lawyers. They go to see the DEA. They get Breeze and Lena out, and the lawyer's like, yo, Estes, the grandfather, when they arrested him, mind you, the grandfather's a notorious drug kingpin. He's supposed to be a gangster. Estes is now snitching on everybody. That's why everybody's going down. Carter, Breeze, Monroe, all that. So I'm like, you're supposed to be this big time gangster, and you snitching? Like, So me and Breeze and Lena decided to come together, and they was like, we're not gonna let the cartel fall for what our husbands and boyfriends work for. We're gonna take over. We're gonna make a name for ourselves, and we're gonna take over the cartel, right? And we're gonna do it in honor of our men. So they all distraught. So now the book ends with them deciding that they're gonna take over the business. And Mia Moore tells Breeze like, yo, your grandmother's talking. It made me. He gotta go. Breeze is like, it is what it is. Handle your business. So that's how the book ends, and I'm like, damn. So to sum it up, Breeze came back from the dead. Money came back from the dead. Mia Moore came back from the dead. Murder is supposedly dead, right? The girls is now gonna take over the drug game. How they gonna do that, I don't know, cause Lena timid ass, she always scary and shit. And I'm just like, what the hell? I didn't think Estes was gonna roll over, but like, come on. These old gangsta ass dudes, they're not really gangster. They put fear in people when they outside, but when the DA come, now they cracking. I'm just like, what's gonna happen? So now I wanna see how the girls run the empire. Are they gonna stay in Miami? Are they gonna travel? Like, what's gonna happen? I need to know if the men are really dead. They end up finding the plane, but they didn't find any bodies, so we already know what that means. The men ain't dead. That's part of Carter plan, but I could be wrong. But this was book 4. Stay tuned for book 5 review. You already know the Cartel series is lit, and until next time, your girl is out.